Welcome to episode 2 of the Scholar Hour, where we continue to interview San Antonio Lighthouse scholarship winners for the year of 2020. Today we speak to a first-time winner, David Smith. He is currently attending the University of Texas in San Antonio. Throughout this interview, we discuss how his vision impacted his childhood and his employment later on in life. But you also hear how David's willingness to try different things and to continue to work hard to provide for his family allowed him to find a place where he feels that he could be productive and successful in. So without further delay, here is the interview with David Smith. Enjoy. All right, guys, thanks a lot for listening to The Blind Beat. And in our continuation with the conversations we're having with the San Antonio Lighthouse scholarship winners, we are going to talk to David Smith. How you doing, David?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. How are you?
Good. This is actually the first time you won this scholarship, correct?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yeah. First time.
Awesome,
ever.
Man.
Anything.
Really? It's the first scholarship?
It's the first scholarship I applied for where you had to write an essay and stuff, and it's the first one I won, so I'm very thankful.
All right, man. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
How did you find out about the scholarship?
You, AZ Martinez, my teammate, you gave me a heads up. Hey, there's a scholarship. And I was like, oh, shoot. And I looked into it, and so it was from you, man.
I'm glad we were able to connect there and get you that help. How long have you been going to school?
I became a nurse in 2005, so I did school then. But then I started school again in 2017, so I've been in it since 2017.
So you're currently at UTSA, and this is your first semester there?
My first semester there, yes, sir. Yeah.
Where were you before?
Northwest Vista for 2 years.
What are you studying?
Kinesiology.
Do you want to get just your bachelor's, or do you want to continue on after that?
Oh, I'm definitely going to continue on. I'm 150% certain I'm going to continue on for graduate school for sure.
Do you know yet what you want to do, or do you have some thoughts which direction you want to go?
Obviously, my first goal is to get through the bachelor's, which no problem. Then my next goal will be my master's, and then we'll see it after that. If I have to become a PhD in kinesiology, then that's what I'm going to do.
Gonna be a teacher? A professor?
Professor, maybe. Professor Smith. Dr. Smith sounds pretty good.
So what is your eye condition?
So I have retinopathy of prematurity, ROP.
With ROP, does your vision change?
So usually the condition is from being born premature, so it's already present. And depending on what stage it ends up manifesting into, then that's where the journey begins pretty much. There's a possibility that nothing changes, but then there's a high possibility that things will, like detached retinas will occur, glaucoma will occur, there's a chance cataracts will occur. You know, as you get older from a baby, your eyeball, the size of your eyeball changes, and that will change the anatomy inside your eye. And since usually when you're born with the condition, they do a laser surgery. I was born in the early 80s. I don't know if I had the cryotherapy or was it just laser surgery, or I don't know exactly which one, but I had stage 3, which is there's 4 stages, so 4 or 5 stages, I believe. So they did some laser treatment when I was a baby, and that turns into scar tissue. And as the eyeball changes sizes as you get older, the scar tissue becomes problematic and high likelihood of pulling off your retina. So
whenever you were a child, did your vision change a lot?
The funny thing is, I did not know I had an eye condition. I did not connect with that. You know, I never, I don't remember mom ever telling me you have an eye condition, which is probably a really good thing, you know. So I went along thinking I could see just like everybody else. You know, I never even noticed that I was looking close at things. I didn't notice any of that.
And that was all through school?
I was up until probably about 8th grade. When I was like, maybe I do have eye conditioning. I just don't remember anybody ever telling me, like, hey, you can't see like everybody else. Even though, like, my mom all of a sudden said, well, you can't play baseball anymore because I got up to coach's pitch, but after coach's pitch, I couldn't play anymore. And I didn't understand why. No, I don't remember her telling me you can't see the ball being thrown that good anymore.
So what happened in 8th grade that made you think, hey, there's something the matter, something's different here?
I wanted to play sports. I wanted to play football and stuff, and they told me I couldn't try out, and I was like, well, why? Right. And they're like, well, you know, you can't play contact sports. Don't you know that? And I was like, well, why? You know, and they said, well, you're at a high risk of detached retina. You can't play contact sports. Well, what can I do? And they're like, well, you can be on track, you know. But yeah, that's when I kind of know, okay, maybe I got something going on here with my vision. So, but it was stable. So I had pretty much throughout my whole childhood, my right eye was always like 2800, and my left eye was like 2070. It was pretty good. I didn't realize that I was using all the little vision I had in my left eye to compensate for everything else. I just thought everybody saw that way, you know. Then things would happen where somebody threw something and I couldn't track it, you know, and it hit me, you know. And but yeah, it was pretty much like 8th grade when I realized I can't see like everybody else.
What about schoolwork? It didn't need to be large print or anything like that.
They would always try, the school system would say, hey, well, try using this magnifier, try using this handheld telescope, sit at the front of the classroom. But I guess I hadn't accepted the fact that I couldn't see that good because I was like, no, I don't need nothing. If I got to put my face on the paper, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I did. I refused all the help, and I wanted to have to go through exactly what everybody else had to go through. At least that's what I thought from my perspective at the time. I didn't realize that my body has to work harder to do what they're doing. So yeah, I didn't really use any assistive technology. I remember going to the school for the blind
When was
as
that?
before middle school, which was crazy because I didn't know why I was there. You know, I don't remember.
Huh.
I was like, look, I'm not. I see how people can't really see here. I could see, you know, what am I doing here? A lot of it is naive and ignorance and just not wanting to accept my eye condition. But yeah, eventually I had to kind of accept it a little bit. And I was angry about it too.
That was after like 8th grade when you were angry about that.
Yeah. Pretty much after 8th grade because that's when you're kind of like trying to develop your identity. You want to feel like you can fit in. And the VA teacher would come and visit me and, you know, treat me special. And I'm like, I don't understand why y'all treat, you know, I don't need this.
Right.
I just want to be like everybody else. At least that's how I saw it then. Sports was a huge thing for me.
I completely understand that feeling where you just
So
wanted to be like everybody else. Did you know any other blind people there?
I was the only one.
And see, that's what I think makes it more difficult. Where they're like, "Hey, use
Right.
this or do this," and there's like nobody else is.
Well, you know, and as a teenager, you're not thinking about the safety part of things. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
They're like, we want you to do mobility training. Why? I could walk around fine, but I'm not thinking about I might have to walk around traffic one day, or I might have to walk around buses one day. I'm not, a kid's not thinking that, so I'm just like, I don't need that. I don't need a cane.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use a cane.
So you talk about mobility training. So when did they introduce the cane?
When I was a kid, just as an aide, they were always trying to prepare me for losing my vision. I really don't understand my condition my whole childhood. The most grateful thing I am is that they taught me how to type on a computer in 6th grade. And this whole time, I'm like, I don't know why they're doing this for me. Like, I'm gonna. And he's like, well, you might go blind one day. I'm like, man, you're crazy. Like, I don't know why y'all keep telling me this. Because my mom's not saying anything to me about my eye condition at all. So the people that are telling me this and making me aware of this are people I don't even really know. They're just people that work at schools and stuff. It was hard for me to connect to that as a kid, but they taught me how to type, and man, I'm so grateful for that. But I do remember he was like, "Well, you're probably gonna go blind one day," and I'm like, "Man, you're crazy."
After that, did your vision change enough to where you had to do your schoolwork differently?
My vision was pretty much stable my whole childhood. I used my left eye for everything. Well, now I see that I was doing that now. I ended up not graduating due to other circumstances that could made my life change a little bit.
Right.
But I ended up having to drop out my senior year. But my vision did not change until 2002. I had just got my GED.
And what happened?
I was at work, and for like a couple months prior to that, I had the sensation that something up in the left corner of my left eye, visual field. I thought I was just kind of imagining something. I just gotten my eyebrow pierced, and I'm just trying to figure myself out. Got my eyebrow pierced on that left side, so I thought maybe it was swelling and it was drooping down in my visual field. And I kept noticing at night flicker of light right in the left corner, and I was like, well, that's weird. And it didn't go away for like 2 months. I just got used to it, not realizing what was going on. Because again, I didn't really understand my condition, until I was an adult. So not really knowing that this is a bad sign. And so I was a CNA, which is really hard work, man. Props to CNAs out there. You have to change patients. You have to pick them up, put them in their wheelchair, put them back in bed. You got to pick them up. It's labor. And I was picking up this patient, and it wasn't a heavy patient. I just pivot transferred this patient to the wheelchair, and I rode her to the dining room, and I started walking back down the hall to get into the patient, and this big flash of light, just a big flash of light, just came over my left visual field on the left side, and I was like, oh, that's not normal. So I went to the DON. I told them I think I need to leave if something's going on in my eye, and they said, well, why don't you have a seat real quick? And they fired me.
What?
They fired me. Look, now that I'm older and I understand my condition, I see how it has slowed me down in the workforce, in the work field. I couldn't keep up with pace. I couldn't keep up with the normal pace of the medical field. And so, you get let go when that happens because it's kind of dangerous for everybody. The next day I called my doctor and said, hey, I had this big flash of light. I'm not sure what it is. And they told me, get in here now. So I went in there and they diagnosed me with a detached retina. It already came off like halfway. When I thought it was my eyebrow, that was the shadow of my retina peeling off. That's when the first major change, that's when everything changed. I think I was like
So is there any
20,
pain associated with that?
no pain at all. That's the hard thing about having eye conditions. Most of them, the manifestations are painless. So you don't think, when they say don't, they used to tell me all the time, don't strain. I'm like, what is that? I don't feel it. So what is that? They said, well, when you look close. But when I look close, nothing hurts. And that's the way I have to see things. So it's kind of hard to connect the meaning of straining. Now I know what that means. So I had surgery, the sclerobuckle surgery. It took, I don't know, a few months to heal from that. So, but now I have pain because that's that darn sclerobuckle that's sewn in my eye. But other than that, no, other than that, it's painless. I think I was 20.
After that, you mentioned that you went to back to school for nursing, or what was the process after?
Yeah, so I healed up. I didn't get all my vision back, but I didn't lose a lot of it either. I think it was at 2100 instead of 2070, so it was pretty good. Those are good results for that kind of surgery, so I
Hmm.
was happy about that. I realized real quick I couldn't drive anymore. I noticed I couldn't react to things
You were
quick anymore.
driving
I was
before
driving
that?
before that, yeah. But after that, I noticed I started driving a little bit after I healed up. I could sense that I couldn't react visually fast enough to things on the road. I was working at Walmart and I was a cart pusher outside, and this guy I get was stealing. It was the Walmart off Rigsby and 410, and I guess he was stealing and he was running away from the store cops, the undercover people who
Yeah.
watch for thieves. And this guy, instead of running under the underpass, he runs up on the highway and he got
Yeah.
hit by a car, man, and he went flying like a rag doll. My instinct is always to help, so like immediately I ran over there to see if I could help him, and of course, there's nothing you could do. I get there, like, oh man, there's nothing I could do. The crazy thing was when I walked back across the highway, back to the Walmart parking lot, my coworker who was pushing carts with me, he could have said anything, but he goes, man, you'd be a badass nurse. And I was like, huh, just something clicked to me right away. It was one of those feelings like, I can't ignore this feeling. I need to check this out. I need to look into this. And I did. And so I quit my job the next day and I enrolled in nursing school.
And
So
how was that going
that
through that?
was that was tough because what took a person with a regular vision 2 hours to do, it took me 4 hours. I was starting to learn how to use a CCTV, and back then this was early 2000s, so they had big block TVs. They were still kind of big and blocky,
Yeah.
bulky. And I was starting to try to learn to use that, but I realized real quick that I wasn't efficient at it. And it was costing me valuable time. I was faster just putting my face on the paper and reading it that way. But yeah, I don't think I think I averaged maybe 3 to 4 hours of sleep that whole year. It was a 1 year track. It was a really condensed program, 2 years into 1 year. So, but I remember that was tough, man. I didn't sleep a lot,
Yeah.
but I graduated top of my class, so it all paid off.
Well, that's good. Did you encounter any issues, like as far as with teachers are saying you can't do this or?
Oh, absolutely, man. Oh, man. They were very impressed by my brains, right? I read and comprehend really easy, but when it came to the clinical aspect of it, they were worried. They questioned me. You might be a danger to patients, and I said, well, you need to talk to the doctor who evaluated me before I even came to school, because I had a test done at the Lighthouse to make sure that I could be in this field, safety wise. And I remember they told me, yes, you could be a nurse, but you're gonna have to find a slow-paced environment is what they said, because it took me longer. But when I was in school, I remember we were learning how to do IVs. We had a clinical teacher, old school RN. I mean, she was in Vietnam. Vietnam nurse. Jumping off of helicopters and stuff to help people. But she was hardcore. That's what I'm trying to say. So she really questioned me. She gave me a hard time. When we were learning IVs, I remember she just wouldn't let me do it because I tried the IV on this guy, and he was like, you hit me in the bone. And for the record, I don't think I hit him in the bone.
Yeah.
But, it was very difficult. The whole, being in nursing was just very difficult for me, period, because of my vision. Because as soon as they saw me looking close at something, they immediately thought, can this guy even see to save a life, if he had to?
Right.
Or is he gonna give the wrong medication and see the wrong word? And I would have to always defend myself and be like, look, If I'm not looking close, then I can't see. If you see me looking close, just think, okay, he can see when he's doing that. But oh yeah, the field has been brutal, man. You know, to somebody with visual problems, and I totally understand from the outside perspective. I get it.
So you never used anything to help you?
When I started working, right, it's a fast paced environment, man. Like you you don't have time to break out your little CCTV
Mm.
and turn it on and put it over something. You don't have time to make sure you're seeing something correctly. So what I had to do is I had to memorize stuff. I used to work at a nursing home in my early nursing days, and we would have medication administration records, and we had to pass out medications out during the shift. And there are a lot of patients on the hall. You know, you're talking about 50 patients to one nurse sometimes, and you got to give them all their medications at morning, at lunch, in the early afternoon, in the evening, and at night. You know, some people take 4 pills a day. That was the toughest part because I was so slow. It would put me behind. They end up getting close to that window where it's too late to give their medication and they missed. You know, I never got
Yeah.
there, thank God. But it would get close to that. You know, and so I had to memorize their medications, and I would memorize the card. I would memorize the color of the pill,
Mm-hmm.
so that I didn't have to put something in my face. I can just recognize it by color and
Yeah.
feel,
The
and
feel.
boom,
Yeah.
I know that's what that is. And dude, that's so risky, you know. But
Yeah.
and if I questioned it, I would make sure I had the right thing, and I would check. It just, I had to memorize some things. You know, I had to take, do what I had to do. I remember doing a Foley catheter, and it was awkward for me because I had to do it on a female, and I had to get close to see what I was doing, and it's so
Yeah.
awkward, man. Thank God this patient understood and wasn't like weird about it. But to me, I was just like, did I get in the right field, man? I don't know.
But you kept doing it, man, and you kept going. So
I felt like as long as I was safe, then I can be a nurse. You know,
yeah.
it was gonna be very difficult, and maybe I was gonna have to find the right environment, and that was the hard part, was finding the right environment to be a medical person with my vision problems. You know,
Yeah.
and I didn't find that until a couple years ago. So
Currently, did you find the right environment? Where are you working
yeah,
at now?
my whole nursing career since 2005 has been pretty much, I start working somewhere. I realized my vision can't keep up with it. I tried my hardest to keep up with it, and then I would be kind of like targeted. Like my bosses would start giving me a hard time, not being understanding or not trying to help or anything like that. And I didn't know about all these FMLA laws and all that stuff at the
Yeah.
time. So I would end up just quitting, to when it got really uncomfortable and they weren't going to be reasonable, I would just quit and find somewhere else. And so I did that up until 2015. By then, I'm already a desk nurse. I can't work in the field no more. I did okay with home health for a couple years because it was one patient, but I started missing things, and
Yeah.
he had heart conditions, so I had to take myself out of that to protect them. I had to become a desk nurse, and what I did was I got into quality assurance, and in the medical field, quality assurance means you're reviewing medical documentation to make sure that that's required is on there, all the information that's needed, depending on their condition and their doctor's orders and all that stuff, to make sure everything's talked about that needs to be talked about and covered. That way we can get reimbursed from the insurance. So if something's missing, then we don't get the full amount back. And not only that, but it's also a risk to the patient too. Like we need to make sure we're documenting what we're doing in the home or what we're doing in the hospital, and we need to document correctly. That way, if we get called to court, whenever we get called to court, it's all depending on what you document for that patient. They don't care what you say; it's all about what you wrote down in that legal document. So that's what I did. I would review documentation. I ran into the issue where I couldn't meet the quota that we were supposed to meet. I couldn't see fast enough. They got me bigger screens. They got me double screens. I still couldn't get there. I couldn't hit the numbers, man. Prior to that, all this happening, I got hired on. When I got hired on, I told them about my vision. So it was okay then, but things change. In business, things change, demands change, and you have to adapt to it. United Health Group took over our company. They said, hey, now you guys have to meet numbers. Once that happened, I just couldn't do it. I had to get on FMLA. I was trying so hard that I started causing problems with my vision. So then I started having another visual change about that time.
What was that transition that happened to where you finally found the place where you feel good?
It's getting to the point where I'm almost going to lose my job because, in business, it's hardcore in business, man. Even in the medical field,
Yeah.
like you had to. Yes, they did know about my vision. It wasn't meeting a certain number wasn't required at the time, but that changed, and that things happen like that, and you had to be able to meet the demands. I applied for different positions that I thought I could do, but I couldn't get anywhere, dude. I was stuck. And
Yeah.
my manager, they had to meet their own demands too. And so he was like, look, man, I can't do nothing with you. You can't meet these numbers. You're gonna lose your job on this date. This is right before Christmas in 2018. And so I just gave up. I was like, you know what? Well, maybe God just doesn't want me here. God has somewhere else to put me. I've been fighting to keep this job for so long, because it helps me pay my bills for my family. So,
Yeah.
but at that point, I was just so exhausted with fighting for my job. I said, you know what? Wherever you want me, God, maybe I'm not supposed to be here. And so I wrote a letter to United Health Group, just explaining my experience the past few years and that I really want to stay with the company. And I really believe I could be a great asset, a huge asset to the company still. I'm in school trying to get a degree so I can connect, so I can have another opportunity within the company somewhere else. Like, I'm doing everything I can to keep my job here.
Yeah.
And I just sent it to as high as I can go individually through email. I didn't send no group message. I was very professional. I did it individual, just kind of saying, look, I really want to be with this company. I don't want to lose my job because of my visual changes. My vision had
Yeah.
gotten worse. And so one person saw it, man. And next thing I know, I'm in a huge meeting with the corporate leadership. We got this great position for you. We see your resume has fitness on it. You've been a nurse for so long. We have a community outreach, community wellness nurse position where you'll be working in the community for fitness and exercise and health education. And I had to do an interview, and they loved me. So that's where I've been since beginning of 2019.
That's awesome. Since you have experience on both, a little bit of both, and then they got you in the right position,
Right.
man. That's your hard work, and then also you thank God for that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of screen time. I don't have to
Yeah.
read a lot of things. I just got to
Strain.
prepare for my classes. A lot reduced training, big time, dude.
When I met you, as well as having your full-time job, you were also doing CrossFit training.
Hmm.
How did you get involved?
Man, I got involved. I've been in fitness since I used to be really big, and unhealthy. I had to make a change, so I started working out at this gym, just doing what I thought I was supposed to do. I didn't know and so I get to a year later, and I'm like, I lost like 60 pounds, but I took a picture and I'm still fat. And I'm like, what the heck? I don't get this. And so I was like, I'm either going to just give this lifestyle up or I'm going to go to school. So I went to school to learn how to do personal trainer and exercise nutrition certification and all this stuff, just so I could figure out what I was doing. And I did learn real quick that I was approaching it the whole wrong way. I'm doing all this exercise stuff, doing like P90X stuff, working out, just doing different things, just learning the fitness industry. My wife picked me up from work one day and we're driving home, and I see these people, like, I don't know, I could see figures running out, but I didn't know what they were doing. And they're running out of this old, like, garage, like, thing, like a mechanic garage, it looked like.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, what is this doing? You roll the window down, you hear all this music bumping, ba-boom, 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 boom, boom. I'm like, whoa, let me go see what this is. So my wife pulled over, and because of my eye condition, I'm real sensitive to light. So if it's light outside, I'm looking towards something inside. I can't see anything inside. It's all dark. Even though I just couldn't see. So I was like, I walked in there and it's super loud, and these people are all sweaty and they're jumping everywhere and they're picking up these weights and they're just throwing them everywhere. And I was like, this is cool, man. This makes me feel like I'm in like military boot camp or something.
Yeah.
And so I joined, man, and it's a whole different type of training, and it helped me improve my mental strength, and it helped me get into fitness a little more. It's exciting because it's a group setting. You learn how to lift big stuff and stuff
Right.
like that.
After a while of you doing it, you became a trainer of these classes, right? You ran these classes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, full time,
How,
almost full time.
how were you able to coach up somebody to make sure that they had the correct form?
I would record them on video. On my recording, I would zoom in. Thank God iPhones are really awesome because you can slow down the video with your finger. So when I slowed down the video, I could see and zoom in really close on a body part that I was looking at, seeing how it was moving. I could pick up on the mistakes. Yeah, did it slow me down? Yeah, but safety's way more important than speed. So a lot of members respected me for that. And when it came down to it, I was a really good coach as long as I could see what was going on. It would get risky sometimes when there's a big class and they're throwing barbells around and I'm walking between people. I got hit in the head with a bar a couple times, just got too close, I didn't realize I was that close. But a lot of people are great. They'll tell you, all right, the clock says this, David, because they know I couldn't see you that far.
Yeah.
As long as I know my environment and I learn like where everything's at and the space, it takes me a little time to learn it. But once I learn it, I just walk around like it's nothing.
That's awesome. Now that things have come together, what do you do now? Because you were mentioning that you have the fitness, and then you've also been a nurse. So what is it that you do now at work?
I'm doing the community wellness nurse where I teach health education to people that are 60 and above. And I don't know if you remember, they used to have these like rec centers for kids and they still do. You drop a kid off, they play, and they eat lunch. They do all these different activities. They eat lunch, provided, and it's kind of like so parents can keep working during the summer.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like what this is, but for people who are retired or 60 and above, they can sign up to be a member. It's like their own little rec center. They have different
Isn't it
types
like
of
the
classes.
YMCA used to do that or something like that?
Pretty much, but the difference between the YMCA and our places is that the YMCA is multi-generational,
Yeah.
whereas our place is just strictly for 16 above. They don't have to worry about a 20-year-old, or they can feel comfortable around their generation is pretty much what it is. Some people are well off and they're retired and they just come there for the camaraderie and the community aspect of it. And some people don't have nothing. They don't even have a meal to eat, so they come just so they can eat that meal, that one free meal we give to them a day. And they don't have nobody, and they come to be around somebody.
The company. Yeah.
Right, the company, right. And so what we do, I work for WellMed, but we're partnered with the city of San Antonio, and in one of their centers, I'm there to do free health screenings. My partner does most of the screenings because my vision, but I do all the exercise classes, the arthritis exercise. I do a strength training program. I teach evidence-based programs like Brain Savers and a aging mastery program. These are all evidence-based programs that we provide. So that's what I do right now. So a lot of,
Cool.
no screen time, not very much clinical work as far as our clinical skills. As far as injections and stuff, my partner does all that, but I do the other half. I do all the education stuff. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man, that is awesome. So tell me, man, what are some hobbies that you have now?
Man, my only hobby right now is studying and working out and beatball. Been doing some beatball.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of time to do a lot, so
Beatball is adapted baseball for the blind.
right,
How
right.
was finding that for you as you were looking to be a part of competition?
I found beatball in 2016 after the season had already concluded, so fall 2016. And at that time, I had just learned that I went legally blind in both my eyes, not just the right one, but the left one also. I was having problems, the problems at work, trying to keep up with the pace and all that other stuff, and trying to keep it was a very stressful time, and I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh, I can't be a nurse no more. Like, what am I going to do to support my family? So when I found b-ball, I see that now that I needed that to build brotherhoods with people, build relationships with other people like me. Because up until then, I tried to live in the 2020 world. I call it the 2020 world, I tried to act like I was like everybody else, like I said, since I was a child. The San Antonio Jets helped me accept the fact that I wasn't who I was before visually, or who I thought I was visually, or whatever. And that it was okay to be visually impaired, and to embrace it. I want to be the champ, with the Jets. But the biggest thing that did for me was these brotherhoods that I built with you guys.
How do you feel like the support that the Lighthouse is giving you is going to help you?
Oh, it's huge support. I've been the only one that's been working in my family since 2006. Me and my wife decided that we were going to be together forever. I'll be real with you, man. I was abused as a kid growing up. I didn't want my kids ever to go through that, and my wife understood that. I said, you know what? Let me just work, and if you're okay with it, you can be the one that's with the kids all the time. Because we both agreed we wanted one of us around the kids all the time. We didn't want them in the after-school program. We didn't want them with somebody else watching them. We always wanted one of us in their lives all the time, no matter what. And so we both agreed to that. And I said, I'll figure it out. It's going to get hard. 3 kids later, 4 total. I'm still doing it, but it's been very hard. So when I realized I had to go back to school because my vision had gotten worse and nursing was just going to be too difficult. A lot of opportunities I don't have in nursing anymore. It was hard to keep up with the school workload and work and coaching, and I had to miss work to keep up with the demands of school. And thank God my manager is so cool with that. She's okay with that, But the fact is I'm gonna lose money, if I have to take off.
Yeah.
The scholarship is like a cushion that I can use to support my family and feed them, so I can still feed them. I can still pay the bills with it. It's gonna help me stretch my financial needs out. So if I had to miss school, I don't have to worry about the reduced money. I have something to back me up a little bit. So that's the biggest thing that this scholarship's gonna help me with.
It's a big thing to at least help you to focus on the schoolwork, as well, and also work,
Yeah, because I would have felt horrible if my wife would have had to go back to work. She hasn't worked since 2006, so it's going to be hard for her to find a good spot to make up enough amount to still pay what we need to pay, like the groceries and the light bill and all that stuff. And so, yeah, she's going to get her education too, as soon as I'm done, and we have a plan, but it wasn't going to be the right time for her to have to work, for both of us have to be working. So I was very thankful. This helps a lot because she doesn't have to, she can still raise the kids. And trust me, raising the kids I don't know how she does it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the hardest job I've ever seen in my life, man. Like,
you got 4 kids, right?
4 kids, man. And they're all different age groups. One's 18, one's 11, one's 8, and one is 5, about to be 6. So we both have our hands full, but she does, because I had to put my face in the books and I had to work. She does majority of that hard stuff. And thank God, because I don't know how she does it, honestly.
What would be your advice to somebody who's losing their sight, who maybe has an eye condition, but is kind of avoiding, not wanting to take that step to accept the blindness, right, and to take the necessary steps to get the help that they need?
Right. So I fully embrace adaptive technology now, just for the record.
Yeah.
I loved it. I love, if it wasn't for me being able to hear my books instead of reading them in college right now, I wouldn't be able to make it. So I have embraced that whole lifestyle. I listen to all my books. I use my cane when I have to. What I would say is that take a step back. At first you're like, what the heck, man? You're like, what the heck? You got to take a step back and say, you know what? You got to remember that you're still side-eye, but you just have to figure out how to work your way around this whole new visual change, whether it's a little bit of a decrease or a huge decrease. There's always going to be a way for you to become a side-eye and be a contributing factor in this community, in society. And you have to find it. You have to look for it. Nobody's going to tell you where it's at, and you have to be hard-headed. You have to be stubborn, and you have to be accepting, because I'll tell you right now, the business world doesn't care about your vision, okay? All they care about is, can you still keep up with everybody else? And if you can, great. You're amazing. If you can't, then it's not going to be the place for you to be. You need to find another place that's going to, some places aren't willing to work with you, but there are places out there that will work for you, and you have to find those places. Nobody's going to tell you where they're at. So you got to be hard-headed, stubborn, consistent. You just got to you got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. There's always a way. And for me, the biggest goal is to stay in the workforce,
You tried a lot of different things and you kept at it. And I think that's a very important thing. It was a lot of hard work and a lot of stress, but you found a place that you like, mm-hmm, and that goes to your strengths. And it was because of your hard work and your willingness not to give up and to keep trying out different things. And
well, I had to say this, man. Nothing really positively happened until I said, you know what, God, I can't do this. You do this for me. You put me where you want me to go, and I'm leaving it up to you. I can't do that. I can't fight on my own anymore because it was really hard. So that's huge, number one. And once you do that, things just happen. You start realizing, okay, I need to do this. Let me call this person. Let me Google this. Let me research this. What's in demand? Figure out what you can still do with the vision you have, and find out where you can use it at. Where's the demand at? Yeah, I gave it to God, but I still had to put effort into. I had to research and had to be patient. I had to talk to a lot of people. I had to convince them that I was still worth something.
God helps those who help themselves.
That's right.
And I think that's it.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Man, I want to thank you so much for doing this show. It's been a blast to get to know a little bit more about D. Smith. We always hang out and have a great time with the Jets. And I want to tell you congratulations again for winning this scholarship, man.
Man, thank you so much.
And great job, man.
Thank you so much, man. Very thankful for this. Appreciate you guys.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
The Emma Freeman Scholarship Fund was established in 1970 by the San Antonio Lighthouse in order to afford blind and visually impaired students the opportunity to obtain a college education. Scholarships are awarded annually in the spring and are applicable for 1 year or 2 semesters of college, You can obtain an application by going to www.salighthouse.org. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview with David Smith. Join us next time for another interview with a San Antonio Lighthouse Scholarship winner. If you would like to interact with the show, follow us on Twitter at The Blind Beat. My name is AZ. This has been the Scholar Hour on The Blind Beat.